Welcome to Tamar Bowling Video Ball Reviews. We need your support, so if you like what we do, please support us by joining our Patreon page. Let me introduce our new partner, Haley's Pro Shop. A big thank you to Jeff Miller and Ron Hoppy. Don't forget to check out Haley's Pro Shop in Burlington, Washington for world-class drilling and coaching. All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. I want to talk a little bit today about the latest Pearl ASIM from Storm. The Crux line continues to be popular, obviously, hence Storm continuing to release products under the moniker. This time we have the Omega Crux. I have to admit, when I first heard that name, I just assumed it was an international release and not a stateside one. Nevertheless, here we are. We have a new Pearl. Let's look at the components first and then talk about what we have. So first, the core. We continue to have the Catalyst core. This is an asymmetric, as previously mentioned. The specs are 250, 051, 016 for 16, 50, 5217 for the 15 pound, and 5450, 15 for the 14 pound. So you can see small variations, but the most important thing here is that the differential is similar enough, as is the mass bias. So again, I expect bowlers using any of these weights to have similar experience. And as some of you know, I do throw 14 quite a bit, so that's an important point for me. The Catalyst core has always been a rolly core. This is not something you expect to go crazy sideways, hence why it's been so popular in one incarnation or another. In terms of strength, Storm puts this at the top third of their core chart. So at the big picture level, the core shape is pretty straightforward. But the thing Storm did was create this cavity in the overall oval shape. And the main benefit, besides being used to create the asymmetry, is to allow more flexibility in drilling. What they do is essentially minimize how much core gets drilled out when your PSO drills your fingers and thumb. Since you can't use weight holes anymore as of August this year, you rely on your PSO laying the ball out correctly, added to the asymmetry to create whatever nuanced motion you might be looking for. Alright, so looking beyond the core, we had the Crux, the Alpha Crux, the Crux Pearl, then recently revived the line with the Crux Prime. Of all of those, I believe there's no doubt the Alpha Crux continues to be the star of this group. I guess Storm has a stash somewhere for the pros when they need a ball on tour or on a show. The rest of the world has access to the spec-covered Crux Prime. Now Storm brings back a Pearl version with the Omega. And this is a new cover called the GI20, or the Game Improvement 2020. According to a recent cover core chart, which I referenced earlier, this is the strongest cover they've created. I won't know what that means until we see it in our hands on the lanes, but I will say I think back about the Storm Lock, which had a GI15. I really enjoyed the motion and traction that cover created. So let's talk about this a little bit. The GI20, in this case, is a Pearl. The GI15 was a hybrid. The GI17 on the Shore Lock was a solid. And for those that remember, strong, high traction cover, and the solid in the Shore Lock was really smooth. Adding some Pearl in the hybrid obviously made the lock more angular. It's a different core, of course. But with the Omega, this is a Pearl version, but it's also finished at 3000 grit Abralon. I'm guessing this will make the traction level close to the GI15, but that's just a guess. And from what we've seen already, I think it makes a lot of sense for Storm to release the GI20 in Pearl and then add surface to make sure that the strong cover not only has back end, but also traction. When I think about an arsenal, I would imagine this falls nicely under the physics and above the astrophysics. And the question is, do you want or need to fit something like that in between? I will say from the left side, I like the idea of a strong Pearl ASIM with a stronger cover. The Astro's kind of sideways for me, and the medium traction R2S is not really enough on the high volume sport patterns that I see all the time and that don't break down all that much from my side. I'm really looking forward to this one, to be honest. I'm a big fan of the Snap Lock and Intense, or maybe I would be specific. I'm a big fan of the R3S Pearl cover. It was a kind of cover that could be made clean and angular, but put a little surface and man, does it have bite.
So I'm hoping the GI20 offers similar, right out of the box. Ultimately, though, what I'm expecting out of this is the same smooth motion we saw from the Crux Pearl. I don't see this as a sideways ball like the Astro or even the Snap Block or Intense. The Crux has always been on the smoother side, so I think this will fall towards the control side of the spectrum for Pearl ASIMs. So that's what we have. Stay tuned for the full review coming soon.